review for 5 minutes. So interrupts basically can be of, the disturbance can be caused by two different ways. One is a polling technique and the other one is a interrupt technique. So when a polling technique is considered continuously, 8051 will be checking for the peripheral devices whether they need a service or what. In the interrupt technique, so the main disadvantage with polling technique is that in the polling technique, most of the processor time will get wasted in checking the external peripheral devices for the services. So to overcome this drawback, we have the interrupts technique. In this interrupts technique, instead, rather 8051 checking with the peripherals, whenever they need some service from the 8051, they'll send a request. In response to that request, 8051 will send a acknowledgement, and based on that acknowledgement, the interrupt service routine will be executed. Okay, so that is the second technique we have. In this interrupts, there are the steps that the 8051 will follow when any interrupt which is occurring to the 8051. First, 8051 finishes the task or finishes execution of the present instruction. Current instruction, and later on it will pushes the contents of registers onto stack, then it places the contents of PC onto stack, then it copies, including flags here, flag contents. Okay, copies PC with ISR address, and then next it executes 8051. It means 8051 executes ISR and it returns back later, it returns back to main program. So these are the steps that the 8051 will follow whenever there is an interrupt which is occurring for. Basically, 8051 has 6 interrupts. So which are those 8051 6 interrupts? Which are those interrupts? So the first interrupt is an reset interrupt. Second interrupt is an external interrupt INT0. Then third one is an external interrupt INT1. The fourth one, it is the timer 0 or timer 1 flags. That is TF0. Okay, this is timer 0 flag, that is TF0, and fifth one is this timer 1 flag TF1, and sixth one, last one, it is for serial communication. These are the 6 interrupts we have in 8051. Now, sometimes The interrupts may occur only one to the 8051, or any peripheral device may ask the 8051 service through only one device, or sometimes maybe more than one device. In such cases, how do these interrupts will be handled by 8051? So that is what the priority of interrupts. Coming to the next topic is priority of interrupts. If more than one interrupt occurs, or more than one request from more than one peripheral, if it occurs to the 8051, then how do such interrupts will get prioritized? So in that, to answer that question, you have a priority of interrupts. The priority of interrupts are as follows. Okay, the first priority, it is given for external interrupt 0. The next priority, it is for the timer overflow flag 0. Then timer 0 overflow flag. Then next priority is given for external interrupt 1. Then timer 1 overflow flag. Then serial communication RI and TI are in the priority which have been set. So how many interrupts you have? Serial communication RITI. Then you have 1 minute. TF0, RF0, INT0, and the first priority or the highest priority, it is given for reset. So highest priority, it is for reset, and the lowest priority to the RI and TI. Suppose reset and INT0, both are enabled. So during that time, there will be a request from reset as well as for INT0. In such cases, the 8051 first services reset. Okay, and then later it goes to INT, and later goes to INT1 or INT0, whichever. It need not be INT0 only, in a consecutive only, need not to request the 8051, or it can be a random request to the 8051 through the peripheral devices through all these interrupt modes. So during the time, the priority will be assigned as follows. Okay, now let us see how the program, how do these interrupts, where these interrupts have been located. So for that, I have discussed in the previous class IVT, that is interrupt vector table. What do you mean by this interrupt vector table? Let us first try to understand. So this interrupt vector table is a set of memory locations. Find these memory locations specific to the interrupt. So interrupt vector table is a table holds the starting addresses of interrupt service routines. When you take this interrupt, why then it is a vector table? I'll tell you. Whenever you are giving an INT0 to this particular INT0, the specific address which is allocated to the PC from the ROM location is 00H. So therefore, it will go to the 00H only when reset button has been pressed. Suppose INT0. 1 second, students. Okay. When INT is 0 or when reset is pressed. Okay. Reset. When reset is pressed, not INT 0, PC will be loaded with 000H. That is the starting address of the reset ISR. ISR starting address. Starting address from which location to which locations means 000, 0001, 0002H. These are the three locations in which ISR starting address related to reset function it has been written here. Similarly, when the INT 0 occurs, PC will get loaded with 0003H. What exactly in that 0003H it is? It is the interrupt service routine related to the external interrupt starting address. It has been stored from 003 to 00009H. Okay. Sorry, 0002 AH. Okay, these locations will have the starting address. Similarly, so on. Hence, whenever we go for interrupt vector table, it is a table which holds the vectored addresses of interrupt service routines related to all the 6 interrupts. So hence, when you look at this interrupts vector table, reset has 0000H, then INT 0 it has 0003H, then TF0 has 000BH, and then external interrupt 1 INT 1 way has 0013H. Similarly, timer 1 overflow flag has got 001BH, and serial communication either for SI or for RI, sorry, as a TI or RI has 0023. Okay. When you look at this, there is a definite vector address. So hence, a table consists of these addresses are termed to be the interrupt vector table. Why I am explaining again here? The reason I'll tell you, when you want to program these interrupts, you need to start writing the program instructions by instructions to the interrupts also. Whenever we are writing the program, so what will be the first statement that we'll be writing is that org 00H. Then ljump 30H. Then again we'll be using org 30H, and from here onwards we are writing the instructions. The main program we'll be writing from here. and from there on the instruction by instruction you will be writing, and you will be closing the program through the end statement. If you observe these interrupts programs, the first three statements why we have written, the reason behind that is because all the interrupt vector service routines are stored between 00H2 to 2FH. So hence 32 locations have been filled with this interrupt vector table addresses or interrupt service routine at starting addresses. Hence we will be using these three statements in any of the program when you start writing the program. Is it clear, students? Okay, now since many of the interrupts we have, how do we program these interrupts? So for which, let us take now how to program the timer interrupts. Programming of timer interrupts. Okay. So when you start interrupting the, programming the timer interrupts. So which are the two timer interrupts you have? One is TF0 and the other one is TF1. Whenever when there is an set state on this TF0, whenever there is a rollover occurs. Similarly, TF1 will set to 1 if there is a rollover from the final count to 0, 0, 0. Suppose you go for TF0. So whenever this TF0 it goes to 1, then PC will get loaded with 0, 0, 0BH. That is an interrupt service routine. Starting address will be getting loaded onto PC and thereby ISR will be executed, and in an ISR the last statement supposed to be IRET. By executing this instruction, the processor will go back to the main program. Similarly, TF1, if TF0, if it goes to 1, PC will load it with 000B. If suppose TF1 loads with 1, then this PC will get loaded with 001BH. So in that there is an interrupt service routine starting address that will get copied onto 8051 PC and thereby executes the interrupt service routine later on. So now how do such interrupts, that is timer interrupts, can be programmed in our programming skills? So for that let us take a simple question. Write a program which is as follows. Write a ALP, assembly language program, that displays value. It has to display value of Y at port 0, and N at port 2. And also generate a square wave, and also generate a square wave. Often these questions are getting repeated in the question paper. Also generate a square wave of 10 kilohertz with timer 0 in mode 2 at port pin P1.2. Assume crystal frequency as 22 megahertz. This is a question which has been given. Now we have to write a program to perform this operation. How do you do this? So for which the program is as follows. See, already we know how to program the timers and how the serial data can be sent parallelly in through the ports. So now make use those concepts and try to write the program. So what is the first program instruction? Solution is org 00h sjump 30h, then again org 30h. This is the to skip the interrupt vector table starting addresses. And then now we have to go for a subroutine to write this program. What is this subroutine? Interrupt service routine. Interrupt has to perform these operations. So therefore, instead of org 00, but here I need to write an interrupt service routine. So what is the starting address of this timer 0 overflow flag? It is 00 org 000BH. So what we need to do? We need to complement at P1.2 the pin with different values. So RETI is the final instruction. Now when it comes to origin 30, then you need to set the timer. Move tmod with hash 02h, because it's clearly given in a question that you have to use timer 0 in mode 2. So therefore you are getting a value of 2. Move th0 comma hash 0b6h. So we have to give some value that will be found with respect to the frequency that has been given. What is the frequency? Frequency is 10 kilohertz. Square wave we need to give. You need to generate. So time period will be 1 by 10, that is 0.1 milliseconds. So here the T on and T off, if you are, sorry, 1 by 10 means, yeah, 0.1 milli. It is equal to 0.05 milliseconds. If for this milliseconds, 0.5 milliseconds, if the total number of, what is that, counts, if you are calculating, this is the initial count that you need to load. This is an auto reload. So therefore TH0 we are loading. Then move IE with interrupt table interrupt register with 82H. Why 82H? Because serial communication you need to disable, whereas timer enable interrupt you have to do. So what is that IE register is? If you look at this IE register, this is enable interrupt, so must be 1. Fine. Then there is no second. ET2 external timer 2, that will make it as 0. Then serial communication you make it as 0. Then ET1 we are not using timer 1, so therefore that also we have to disable. Then external 1, that also we need to disable, whereas ET0 timer 0 we are using, so therefore make that one to 1, and external interrupt 0 also you make it 0. So now if you find this is equal to 82H. Okay. After sending the 82 IE with initializing 82 value on IE, set B TR0, timer 0, you set it. Move P0, comma, hash Y. Then move P2, comma, hash N. And S jump back. Continuously you will be sending YN on port 0 and port 1 continuously, and you are ending the program. So this is the actual program when you have to make use when it is given that you have to generate a square wave as well as you need to send a data on some port. So the next program, it is, suppose you have the more than one interrupt at a time when they request 8051. So how do this type of interrupts priority will be changed? Students, 2 seconds. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ So now the next program, let us see how to write on interrupts. These are the interrupt programs on what is that, timers. what I am discussing, two programs, whatever I am discussed now, it is on interrupts. Write a program to toggle pin P1.2 every second. Okay. So now this particular program, when it is verified, here frequency it's not given. So you can assume frequency as 22 megahertz or 11.095 592 megahertz, 0.592, 11.0592 megahertz or so on, 24 megahertz or 25 megahertz or so on. You can see what it has been given. It is a large delay. That is 1 second delay means it is a large delay. We need to provide for an bit which is going to toggle at pin P1.2 for every second. So therefore the delay program here, how you will give, that is with a nested looping technique you have to provide. So right, let us see the program ORG00H, SJump30H. Okay, then ORG 1BH, that is 001BH. Then 2 minutes. So what we have to do? ORG SJump to 30H. So to generate you have to write a ISR to generate for timer 1, timer 0 or timer 1, anyone you can make use. There is no hard and fast rule because here they have not given. So I'll make use timer 1. ISR for timer 1 to generate square wave of required frequency you can make use. Sorry, not required frequency, 1 second delay or 1 hertz delay you have to provide. So for which okay, CPL ISR is as follows. This origin 001BH is the ISR starting address for timer 1 of overflow flag TF1. So therefore DJ insert CPL P1.2. Afterwards move R0 comma hash 28. Move TL1 with hash 00. Because 1 second delay you need to provide, right? For that you find out how much is the initial count value. TL1, TH1, comma, hash 00H. So 00002 FFFH will be executed for 28 times. That is the total delay for 1 second or 0.5 seconds. After providing this, return to main program. When it returns to main program, ORG 30H you have to give program here. Move